last week we were telling him to fix his lighting, so he got up to go turn on the light, and we went live. And when he came back, he had no idea we were live, so he's just talking like we weren't even live the whole time. He wasn't too happy with us, but it is what it is. We're actually live now. So
live now.
Oh,
live
we're live.
We're live.
Are we going to stream?
How are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Let's get this shared up.
Yeah, let's get this show kicked off.
So we're not just talking to each other.
I mean, we kind of are. We
could. Isn't that what it's supposed to have? You know, like the natural feel of a conversation among friends,
or a lecture, one or the other. You know, it just depends.
If I went to lecture, I'd stay downstairs with my wife. What the heck?
All right, let's kick this show off. Let's go.
This is Fantasy Intervention. Now here to intervene with your fantasy life, Shane Manila, Jakob Sanderson, and Chase Vernon.
What's going on, guys? Welcome on into yet another episode of Fantasy Intervention. Oh, yes. Get excited. We have a fun episode for you guys coming out, especially with all the news breaking. We got the franchise tags. We have the gossip going around about people like Aaron Jones. Very excited to talk about that. Of course, I'm joined by Jakob and Shane, but we have a special guest in who had some exciting breaking news of his own that hit yesterday, I believe, or earlier today. Bob Lung in the house. What's going on, Bob? How you doing?
Doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on. Always great to see Shane again. I miss him. It's been a year or so since I've seen you face to face, and we hugged and massaged each other. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, it's just good to be back. And thanks for having me.
No, anytime. We appreciate you joining, of course. But yeah, we got a fun episode going on. Before we get started with our episode, however, I want Bob to sit there and actually talk about what he's been, dealing with, what's been going on for him as of late.
Well, the big news we released last night is the fact that we will be doing live in Canton, Ohio this year. After we, of course, all had to take 2020 off, we will be back doing the Fantasy Football Expo. It will be held in Canton, in what I'm now going to classify as Fantasy Football's greatest weekend. Canton, Ohio, August 14th, Kings Classic Draft at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You can come there and visit us, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Big party Saturday night, we always have. And then Sunday will be the Fantasy Football Expo. 45 booths of your favorite top names in the country. And I expect you guys to be there. And it's just a great day, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of networking. The buzz has been off the charts the last 24 hours. I'm really excited, and I think everybody's really excited. This is, I think we all see the light at the end of the tunnel is not a train for once, and it is actually a light that we can see with vaccinations coming through, that we should all be in pretty good shape by the late summer. So August 14th and 15th should be pretty much a perfect timing for all of us to get out, get together, drink heavily. Did I mention drinking heavily? Yeah, we'll be doing that.
Yes.
And doing some fantasy football, and hopefully that everybody can join us for the weekend, big weekend in Pro Football Hall of Fame, city of Canton, Ohio. So that's the big news. Go to thefantasyfootballexpo.com. If you want to come in as an attendee, that's great. Come see all of us there. There's all kinds of tickets and ticket packages. If you want to get a booth, you're more than welcome to. Those are on there to be an exhibitor as well. Lots of booths open right now. We got more this year. First year, 2019, we did this only 30 booths. This year we have room for 45. So hoping to get some more people out. A lot of new sites out there, a lot of new great knowledge to be shared. So that's kind of the big news.
Very excited for this. It's something that I think a lot of us are looking forward to, and it's been taking over our Twitter. It's been taking over Clubhouse. I even saw a post about it on Facebook, believe it or not. So
me and Bob were actually talking about it on Clubhouse earlier.
Ooh.
Oh, with your non-iPhones?
No, we weren't.
It was actually just a phone call.
Yeah, it was a phone call.
It was a rotary phone, but don't judge us.
All my DM chats. It's funny because last year everybody was so disappointed when it had to cancel. Because a lot of people didn't get to go the first year. I was one of the lucky folks that got to go the first year with Jeremy Browen and Michael Sipes. Yeah, the HQ. And then, everybody was really disappointed we didn't get to do it last year. And then this year, man, last night, just every DM chat I'm in just blew up. Like, are you guys going? Are you guys going? Are you guys going? It was like, I don't know, whatever young people do for fun. That's like that's how we all felt.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Well, next year in Canton, young people can do that for fun.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm a young person. I want to be in Canton.
You can come.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah,
is there an age requirement?
Well, you got to be over 21 so you can drink. No, actually, you can come if you want.
I'm over 21, Shane.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that personally, as far as you know. So we're excited about that. Yeah, it's. I think everybody's just like, and we're all just like, please don't have some stupid variant come out and screw this all up and make us all stay home again. We didn't do the King's Classic at the hall last year. We had to do it all remotely. It just sucked. We all know that. And so, yeah, we're really psyched up. I'm really psyched up. We're doing it in this new, it's an older hotel, but they remodeled it in downtown Canton. So we're doing the expo there, the party there. You won't have to drive all over the place and go to the cultural center and get Ubers and worry about drinking and driving. It's just, we're all staying there. I'm getting a room there. It's gonna be a good time.
No, that's exciting, and it's something that, like we said, a lot of people are looking forward to, and it's blowing up right now. So make sure y'all go and get everything set up. Get your hotel room, get all that stuff before the space runs out.
Box rooms, special prices. They said, how many rooms do you need? And I said, I don't know. I said the King's Classic. I said it will be 28 people. I said, so let's say, let's say 30 rooms each night, or maybe they blocked out like 40 rooms one night, 40 rooms the next. I think that's gonna be gone before the end of the month.
The end of the night, maybe.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, but I, like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on here. Let me talk about this, and let's blow everybody's DMs, clubhouses, outhouses, whatever you can do. Hit them all. Hit them.
So one of the things that was awesome about it was obviously, and it feels weird to say, the fans, whatever. So it was really cool, because we were there at a table and having people come up to you that feel like they know you because they listen to your podcast every week. Like you have a relationship with this person, and some of them, you might DM and on Twitter, and it was just really cool, like meeting other industry people in there and going, oh wow, he's not a dickhead at all. Or confirming.
That must have been someone else's experience.
When they met me, they confirmed. They were like, oh no, he's awful. But when I met people, I was like, oh wow, he's really nice. Yeah. And Bob should get all the credit in the world, because Bob put this on his back 2 years ago and made it happen. Like, I want this to be a thing. It's going to be a thing, and he made it a thing, and it's going to be even bigger this year. And if you have a podcast, if you're a website, whatever, get a booth. Or if you can't get a booth, that's fine. Just come, just interact with everyone.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the thing that everybody talked about. We didn't have a ton of attendees outside of us, which was disappointing. It was the first year. It was put together literally in 2 months. It was a shot in the dark. But every person who emailed me after the weekend said, like, it was amazing. The camaraderie, the getting together, the networking, the just the respect for each other. And I think the thing that Shane's talking about, and I want to, really speak up to these guys, is Mike Clay, Brad Evans, Andy Behrens, Dave Richards, Marcus Grant. All those guys were there.
That's crazy.
That's a hell of a lineup.
Because they're there for the King's Classic. But what I heard from every person, and this is exactly what Shane said, was how nice and respectful those guys are of you. These guys are, they are the number one draft pick in any fantasy draft. We are wide receiver 3s at best.
I'm a fucking Jarvis Landry.
You're a Debbie.
Really?
You're a Debbie.
I'm a Debbie. Can I be like Bruce Hall?
You're a Debbie. So, for those guys, to just interact and just never once do they give you a look like, God, you're wasting my time, or you're an idiot, or, why am I even talking? Who are you? Why am I even talking to you? Never that kind of disrespect. And it doesn't matter who you were. And I think that's what says the most about our community. Yeah, we have some dickheads that every once in a while shoot their mouths off and start yelling at people on Twitter. And that's shameful. But, in that group, you did not see one of those people. And you won't see one of those people this year either, I would assume. The people who come for the sharing of knowledge with the attendees and their fans and their followers and their readers. But it is, if not 50%, maybe even higher, of the networking, the camaraderie, the hanging out, the getting to know other people. So you can, hey, you want to come on my podcast? Hey, will you come on my, and then you start sharing that knowledge, and that makes all of our listeners so much smarter, because now they're hearing different opinions, and it's not just about what Shane thinks or what you think or what, it's all about what, hey, I like what I heard here, liked what I heard there. Well, that was interesting. Okay. And they're making notes from the different things. So that's what it's about. So come for that. Like you said, you've got the Hall of Fame to visit. You can come the whole weekend. Visit the Hall of Fame on Saturday. That's one of the ticket packages. You get the ticket to the Hall of Fame, ticket to the Expo. Come to the party Saturday night. We're going to have the hotel. They got an outdoor patio. It's a gorgeous hotel they just redone. It's going to be a blast. And if you can come Friday night early, we're going to go down the street. There's what they call Centennial Park that they built in the middle of downtown Canton for the Hall of Fame, and they have an outdoor sports bar, with patios and that for Friday night. So it should be a great time. So looking forward to it.
Now, and real quick, where can we find the tickets? Where can you find, this stuff to be a part of this?
Simply thefantasyfootballexpo.com.
Thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Love it. So I do want to hop over to the consistency guide, but before I do, Jacob, I need to know what's going on with this show. Like, what are we going to be going over? What's happening? Give me a quick breakdown to what you designed over here.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, there's upsides and downsides to doing a podcast on franchise tag day. The upside is I don't have to be very creative. The downside is I end up making a show sheet at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So basically, we're going to talk today with Bob, with Shane, with Chase. We're going to talk about who got tagged, who didn't get tagged, what are the ramifications of that. And then we're going to sort of see how that shakes out on the rest of this free agent landscape, in a real football perspective, but also in a fantasy perspective. A lot of those wide receivers in that dynasty wide receiver 2 range, fringe of the wide receiver 1 range. We're getting some big news coming out the last couple of days. So yeah, we're going to find out what is the new dynasty landscape today and why is Chase wrong about his opinions on it.
Oh, here we go, young blood.
Well, man. Before we jump to that, I just had to let Bob know that Matt Donnelly, Dingus, did let me know to let him know that I can take his spot in the Kings Classic, which I thought that was really nice of Dingus. So I thank him for that.
I think I also saw the responses to it that it's a lie, but I appreciate the try. Appreciate the effort.
All right.
I should when there's an opening, should have like a charity auction. All right, who wants to pay the most money to get in?
Oh, that's an idea.
That's a good idea.
And I actually had something planned for July-ish to actually do what you're doing. So I'd love to link up with you because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen this year, but maybe we can do something for the people that aren't able to make it, up north or whatever the case is. So yeah, I'd love to link up with you after this. But
it's funny you're calling Canton North. I have a different perspective on
north.
That.
What?
I'm like, are we talking? I thought we were talking about Canada. I'm like, so I'm thinking, are we going to Canada for a reason?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh God, I can't with you guys. All right, Bob, what's up with your consistency guide, man? Like, give us a little rundown. What is it? What's going on?
So what's going on? The cover actually just got done. It's funny. My designer got the cover done exactly last night as well, and I'm like, I can't release both of these at the same time. I don't want to overkill it. But one of my top fans or top readers said he was disappointed that the Expo was being announced. He thought I was announcing the release of the new cover, and I said, "Oh, you mean this one?" And it was the new cover, so he was very excited. So the cover's done. I'll release it later this week. It will come out around May 1st, like it always does. And for those who don't know what it's all about consistency, and it's about the consistency of the players and how consistent they are from week to week during the year. You certainly want to get those players who not only score a lot of points, we all want those, but we don't want them to do it inconsistently. We don't want that 30-point 1 week, 5 point the next, and you're 50, you're 500 for the season. You have the number 4 scoring team in the league, and you're like, I don't get it. It's probably consistency. So that's what it's all about. It has been about since 2002. So going on 20 years now of doing consistency. The guide, of course, comes out every year, and we're excited it'll be coming out May 1st. And, the usual stuff, 175 consistency profiles on all the players. So you can see, who's the most consistent quarterbacks, who are the most consistent running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, that kind of stuff. We even do an article on rookies and how inconsistent they are in their first season and why you should not listen to Shane when it comes to those players.
So where can we find that?
So like I said, you'll find the hard copy will be on Amazon, and the website is Big Guy Fantasy Sports, which will host the rest of the articles, PDF versions. The consistency report is there. You can go there, put in your own scoring method, and it shows you the most consistent players in your league. So that's always helpful as well.
I love it. And I've heard many, many, many good things about it. I'm probably going to have to dive in and grab one this year.
It's well worth whatever the cost is. It's quality. No, I mean it's quality work.
Thank you.
It looks good. Not just that it looks good; it's actually quality work. Bob's put it out for 20 years now.
20. I haven't been doing the guide for 20 years, but 2002 is when I invented my calculation for consistency and been writing about it ever since. So yeah,
that's awesome.
So twice as long as Jacob's been alive.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so we got some news to get to. I'm sure plenty of people actually want to hear about what's going on in the NFL, what happened today, what are some of the repercussions from some of the tags and whatnot, or the lack thereof. And the first thing that we have to go over is Dak got paid, right? And I'm pretty sure that everybody's heard a ton about it, but I mean, did anybody expect this not to happen?
No.
Move on.
Okay.
Next.
It's just whatever. Let's go ahead and throw that off. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to the tags is Aaron Jones not getting tagged, because I think this has major fantasy implications moving forward when it comes to not only the Green Bay Packers and what they have going on over there, but also for whatever team he lands on, like the Arizona Cardinals, which is the lock, obviously. So is there another team that you guys think that Aaron Jones can go to? And, is Arizona the best landing spot for Aaron Jones? We'll start out with Bob.
I think Aaron Jones going to any team should benefit. I mean, I don't care who they go to. I mean, this kid is a quality player. I was actually a little surprised that Green Bay didn't tag him, because I'm not sure who they're going to tag. So maybe you guys can answer that. But like I said, he's done nothing but produce the last 2 years. They tried to mix in Jamal Williams, and occasionally that works out, and he catches some balls out of the backfield. They seem to think A.J. Dillon's the future, and maybe he is. But they were so close to getting to the Super Bowl. I mean, they were one game away, basically, making it if they could have beat the Tampa Bay. So, where's the best place? I think any place he goes is going to be great. I mean, there's certainly places like I've heard Tampa Bay. I mean, they'll get, let Jones be the backup, let Fournette walk, which we're going to anyway. But you imagine Aaron Jones in Tampa Bay. I mean, just dust off another Super Bowl spot.
Oh, I don't like that for fantasy implications.
Why?
God, how many points are they going to put up a game? How many fantasy?
And you already got the defense, so.
And
Yeah,
They had put up a ton of points, and then
Yeah, it's
Ronald
like-
Jones can just go be irrelevant, which is what he should have always been. So that's
It's like
great.
Rob says. Anywhere Aaron Jones goes, it's good because Aaron
Yeah.
Jones is really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
He's elite. I want him in Miami.
yes, Shane. Yes.
I don't know why. I just do. Just one aside is sell AJ Dillon to anyone that thinks he's going to put up Aaron
Oh,
Jones.
you
type
Oh,
numbers.
God. Okay, Shane, we are going to fight right now.
You can fight all you want, but
You're going to fight. I will reach through the screen. I will come down from Canada. I will smack you if that's a disparaging conversation.
don't get the belt. Don't get the belt, okay? Oh, wait, your generation didn't get
The
belt.
only
You don't even
belt
know
that
what
I
it
know
is.
of-
They don't know about belts.
Sorry. Anyway, but I'm just saying, sell AJ Dillon. Look, I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but he's not Aaron Jones. And I think people, for whatever reason, are going, oh, well, you remove Aaron Jones and then AJ Dillon in there, and he's going to do the same stuff. Not going to happen.
I'm just excited to see Aaron Jones get a majority of the workload, because this past year he only saw 61.5% of the snaps, and we've seen him get held out of games for no reason. Like, he wasn't hurt; he was just standing there. And I think
but wasn't that still up from the year before? Because I remember the year before it was even worse, wasn't it?
year before it was 62.6, so it's right there.
Okay, I thought it was lower. I was surprised.
But that's a major concern. Like, this is a major concern for Aaron Jones, because of the fact that he's never really had that opportunity, but he doesn't fit their system, and he doesn't do exactly what they want to do. Now, he did a better job with it this year, but he still got pulled off the field for running around too much behind the line of scrimmage. They run a wide zone run scheme, or a wide zone blocking scheme. That just pretty much says, hey, run to the end of the tackle as fast as you can, and then get upfield and hit that crease. So, Jacob, like, if you're sitting there and you're looking at it, what kind of system does Aaron Jones fit into? Where could he go?
He fits into any system. I mean, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. He can run routes like a wide receiver. He's been one of the most efficient runners between the tackles, outside the tackles. I love Aaron Jones, and I think he's one of the best possible values that you've had in dynasty leagues the last couple of years, because he's just as good as your Dalvin Cook, your Alvin Kamara, your Ezekiel Elliott, but he's never been priced like those guys. He's more afraid that he wouldn't sign a contract extension. I am totally fine with him not signing a contract extension. Anywhere that he goes to is going to value him appropriately. Maybe that still is Green Bay. I know they're negotiating, but personally, I don't really buy it. I would be thrilled to be an Aaron Jones owner in Miami, in Arizona, in San Francisco. I mean, I think he's just a really, really fantastic talent. The only thing that I would be maybe a little bit cautious of is some teams just don't throw passes to the running backs a whole lot. And that's where Aaron Jones, I think, really separates from the pack, is as a pass catcher. Separates from the pack. Wow, that was a good one by me. I didn't even realize that. But he is now separating from the pack. And yeah, Buffalo. I see Buffalo in the chat from Jeff Bell. If he went to Buffalo, that's a great system for him. I mean, they could just get rid of those jabronis that they have in there, throw Aaron Jones in there. And you could have a sort of work where they have 10, 12 carries a game and 8 targets a game. I think that's sort of that Alvin Kamara-like role where he'd thrive. As for AJ Dillon, the Packers' new RB1, Shane, what do you have to say for yourself? Because we've gone through and charted here 85% of running backs with top 2-round draft capital over the last 15 years that have a speed score above the 95th percent. Okay, and for the people like Chase who roll their eyes every time I say speed score, it means
I'm
big
not rolling
guy
my
running
eyes. I
fast.
believe in speed score. I just love how you scripted this up, because you're ready to come with the fire.
I didn't even script it up, okay? But when Shane started coming at me, I had to go and find the data. So 85% over the last 15 years, running backs, the speed score 95th percentile better, which Dillon has. He has a 99th percentile speed score. He's going to be able to have 67% hit rate in the top 12, 85% hit rate in the top 24. People say he can't catch. The thing with AJ Dillon is we don't know for sure that he can't catch, okay? Boston College offense
we've
that he
seen
played
him play. He can't catch.
No, we barely saw him play. We saw him play like one full game. And at Boston College,
what's
they
weird
had
about
the
that
Stone
is
Age.
that one game is why everyone's telling me that he's going to be a running back 1.
Well, that's not what I'm telling you.
I don't care what you're saying.
He's an
I'm already
athletic
bored with
specimen. He's an athletic specimen. And here's the thing: at Boston College, they played in the Stone Age offense. Okay, he still had, even with just 13 catches. That's what gets people stressed out. Is he only had 13 catches? That's still an 8.1% reception share, and he still had 15 yards per reception. So, yeah, he's never going to be Christian McCaffrey out there running a Texas route. But the reality is if you dump him the ball and he's able to catch the dang thing, he's 250 pounds. He runs 4.5. He's going to run bitches over.
Yes, Bob, go.
But isn't that what Jamal Williams' job is in Green Bay?
It was.
Oh, is he gone too?
Yeah.
Well, he's a free agent, but he might be back. But I mean, but there's nothing that he does better than, well, he catches the ball better than A.J. Dillon. But A.J. Dillon's a far superior runner. He's got a much higher ceiling.
Didn't catch the ball and wasn't a better player than Aaron Jones, and yet they gave it to him 50% of the time. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying about A.J. Dillon. I'm disagreeing because I see Matt LaFleur be a coach, and he doesn't even let his own superstar be involved in his offense. How is A.J. Dillon going to be any more successful than Jamal Williams be?
I got the answer for that one.
Okay.
So essentially we talked about the wide zone run scheme and how, certain players fit into that scheme better than others do. Typically they do have the burst. They also have the speed score, which is what Jacob was bringing out. Speed score being a combination of what your 40 time is along with your body mass, essentially.
Yeah.
So the whole scheme the whole theory behind the wide zone run scheme is have a cut blocker in the back to try and hit the edge from the opposite side of where you're actually running to keep the pressure from coming and being caught from behind. But meanwhile, you pretty much just got to sprint and get your ass out of the backfield. Once you find that seam, you cut up field and you run. And obviously, I'm not telling you this, Bob. I'm talking to the chat. I'm sure you know.
I don't know what you're talking about anyway.
So anyways, as soon as you hit the line of scrimmage, you essentially fall forward if you meet a defender. If not, then you find the crease and you go a few yards before you hit the first linebacker, second linebacker. But essentially, it eliminates half the defenders from the field because you're normally trying to run towards the weak side. With A.J. Dillon's skill set, they're going to sit there and they're going to pound him away just like they did with Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry has the same exact skill set.
You're telling me he's Derrick Henry? Because Derrick Henry
saying he has the same
unicorn.
Skill set.
So did Andre Williams. Thanks for whom the Jeff Ball tolls. Andre Williams fits that profile too.
Yeah, and not everybody's going to work out, but I do believe in A.J. Dillon's skill set to actually work out. But let's go ahead and move on, unless you guys have anything else to add.
Well, I just want to say one thing, right?
Oh, no.
The concern that it's my damn show, Chase. The concern that Bob brought up, and I think it's a concern I've seen a lot, is if Aaron Jones didn't have this full workload, how's A.J. Dillon going to have a full workload? He won't. I mean, probably not, right? What did we say Aaron Jones had? 61% of the touches, 62% of the touches the last 2 years. He was the RB2 overall. He was the RB5 overall. Right. So you can have top 5 upside in this offense without
the efficiency.
spending, tons and tons of work because they score a ton of touchdowns. Now, A.J. Dillon's not going to have as many catches as Aaron Jones, but I think he's going to be able to run the ball more. Aaron Jones only had 4 games in his career with 21 carries or more. A.J. Dillon had that the one time he got a chance to play because his body is built for that. So I think we could see, maybe not even top 5 upside, but top 10 next year, I think easily.
All right, Shane, you're going to start out with the Godwin talk because he got tagged today.
Yeah.
Are you sitting there like disappointed that he got tagged? Are you stoked that he got tagged? What's your thought process?
No, I mean, it's fine. There's not many situations that we're going to be better for him. Yeah, he's still going to have to contend with Mike Evans, but he did that when he had 1,300 yards receiving 2 years ago. I mean, you look at his numbers last year and you're like, oh, that's disappointing. And then you actually look at why. You're like, wait, he had pins in his hands. He had a concussion at one point. It broke his ribs. And I don't like making the excuse for injuries for players, but that dude was banged up. I don't know how many games he was actually healthy in. And I don't always think it's a bad thing to have a good wide receiver across from you. It's a good thing that you can't always be the focal point of the defense. So I'm fine with it. Where else was he going to go? Was he going to go to Chicago? That wouldn't have been great.
No. Indy was one of the names that I thought would have been a positive place.
And by Jersey ready to go.
Yeah, Indy's the dream landing spot for every wide receiver this year, right? We're like, Galladay's going there, Godwin's going to go there.
At least that's my dream, Shane.
Well, a couple of those dreams got shot to shit today. So all things being equal, I'm fine with him landing with Tom Brady again, and for another season or 2. Who knows? Brady's never retiring. I'm not even going to say he's playing one more year. He's probably got 4 more years in him. So that's fine for Godwin.
Bob, do you have a landing place that you would like to see Godwin go, or is Tampa Bay the best spot for him?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, like Shane said, even with all the injuries, he was still 75% consistent in the 12 games he played. And so most of those games he's probably playing hurt. So he's top 12 in consistency, even with the games that he missed and the injuries that he was playing through in those games. How do you argue with that? I mean, yeah, he could have went elsewhere. But sometimes when you go elsewhere where you're the pure number one and there isn't a good number two, that can be troublesome and that'll hurt your consistency. I'd rather see him stay there with Evans on the other side and stay and keep the consistency. Maybe get him at a good value this year because people were like, "Oh, look, he was 31st in points." That's what I'm hoping everybody sees. So let's draft him as my wide receiver too. Yeah, I'm in. So I'm fine with that.
I mean, sitting there and looking at it, he's a slot receiver anyway. So if he went to a team to try to move him to the outside, it could have been a disaster.
Right.
I mean, Jacob, like, how are you feeling about Chris Godwin going back to Tampa Bay, man? Like, are you drafting him? What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I'll always draft Chris Godwin. I mean, you know me. I don't care about the situation. I don't care where a player is. I care how talented they are, especially in Dynasty. And, as long as someone's not right at the end of their career. I think Chris Godwin is one of the 8 or 10 best wide receiver talents in the NFL, and I think he can play outside. But I think he's a beast in the slot. I would have liked to see him somewhere else. I would have loved to see him in India. I would have loved to see him in Miami, somewhere where he could be the alpha and have the opportunity.
Lynn Bowden's got that held down in Miami. Come on, man.
Sorry,
Lynn Bowden has that held down in Miami.
Oh yeah, Lynn Bowden. I mean, I would have loved to see Godwin get out of here with Lynn Bowden. What is he? A quarterback, a running back, a tight end, a middle linebacker, baseball player?
You literally named every position except one that he was designated as
the slot
running back. He was designated as a running back coming out of the draft.
Okay, so Lynn Bowden's a back catcher. Anyway, so Chris Godwin. I mean, look, I would love to see Chris Godwin get fed with 150, 160 targets, and that's probably not going to happen in Tampa. So it's a downgrade to me, at least, but I still think he's a really talented wide receiver. And like Bob was saying, he was not hurting your lineup last year. So I think you're looking at a guy who's probably a mid to high wide receiver 2 coming up in 2021. And he's still got the upside to be much more because it's not like he's, stuck there for 5 years. So who knows where things go after this. I'll always be buying Chris Godwin. I love Chris Godwin.
All right, let's hop on
R.I.P. Tyler Johnson, though. R.I.P. Tyler Johnson.
At least for one more year, right?
Yeah, I'm still buying.
Oh, I'm selling. So probably the most shocking one for me, and it wasn't like shocking. It wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. But Galladay, right? Like Galladay did not get tagged. And it was just a little bit curious because the only 2 wide receivers on their roster right now for the Lions are Quintez Cephas and then Kumaro or whoever didn't play this past year.
Tyrell Williams, baby.
Oh, and
yeah,
Tyrell,
signed Tyrell Williams. What are you talking about? They got a deep threat.
Tyrell the Gazelle.
I can't with you guys. Bob, can you start us out with this, man? How are you feeling?
Well, I think they're obviously rethinking that offense, they've traded for Goff. Well, They traded away Stafford, brought in Goff. Jones is on his way out. They're going to let Galladay walk. They don't want to pay him. I assume now they're going to try to become more run-oriented with DeAndre Swift. With Goff, they can throw some shorter passes. They've got Hawkinson to play tight end. I feel like they're just reorganizing and reestablishing a new offense there. And Galladay's not going to fit it. Plus, he wants a ton of money, and they don't want to pay him, so they're taking an alternative. I don't think it's a question whether they think Galladay is a good player. I'm sure they do, but I think it appears to me that they've completely restructured this offense for the future, and he's not in it. And so be it, and he goes somewhere else.
I'm very curious as to where they go from here with this offense because there's a couple players, which we're going to get to here in a little bit, that I think fit very well in the rookie class, like 1 or 2, that pretty much can play that possession receiver / field stretcher where he's a bigger guy role. So I'm very interested to see where they go with this. Jacob, are you shocked that they didn't tag Galladay?
No, I've been adamant for a while. He wasn't going to be back with the Lions. I thought they might try and work a tag and trade, but I mean, what's Galladay going to accomplish with the Lions? Going to make them from a 3-win team to a 4-win team, right? I mean, it's like what are we trying to do here? So I think it's better for Galladay to go to greener pastures, which I think there's 31 greener pastures in the NFL. And the Lions, I mean, they need to just fully clean house. Any money that's not going to be spent on players that will be part of their core when they might actually be good, which is going to be 3 to 4 years out in the future, probably at best, isn't really money worth spending. So I'm not shocked that they didn't bother tagging him. I'm certainly not shocked they didn't try to extend him. We'll see. I'm excited to see where Galladay lands. I think he's a really good player. The only thing with him is he's kind of an old school wide receiver, right? Like it seems like more and more offenses are trending towards guys like a Godwin who are, quick rhythm passing offense threats, get them in space, get yards after the catch. Whereas Galladay is that old school run 20, 30 yards down the field, throw it up and make the contested catch. And so I don't know that all the quarterbacks coming into the NFL fit as well with that style of wide receiver. But if you can get him in the right spot, he's a beast and he could be a wide receiver 1.
That's interesting. I mean, I feel like Galladay is one of the few receivers who can actually be still dominant as wide receiver 1 and effective as wide receiver 1 without having another wide receiver on the opposite side of the field, like we talked about earlier. So Shane, like, is Galladay screwed, or is he actually going to be good? And if so, which team could he go to accrue value?
I mean, he was screwed when they traded Stafford, and there was no chance of those two sticking together. And now he doesn't have to play with Goff, which is a beautiful thing.
Huzzah!
Hey, you know where he'd look good?
Where?
Indianapolis.
But
honestly,
Wentz will throw it up, man. He doesn't give a shit.
You don't think Pittman plays that role better?
No,
and to be healthier?
Better than Galladay? No.
Could be. Potentially. I mean, potentially.
Look, it doesn't really matter. So this is the one thing I don't do. I don't even think about where they're going to end up because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think where they're going to end up or where I wish they would end up, because they'll end up somewhere else. He's going to end up in fucking Jacksonville or something like that. And
God, don't say
it applies DJ Chark's target.
Oh, no, you can't do that. Don't do that to Chenault. You can't do that to my precious Visca.
Wherever he goes, he's going to be fine. I know that. Unless it's the Jets. No one's fine at the Jets. I don't care if Case is there, not there anymore or not.
All right, so
great on the Jets.
Allen Robinson. God, don't say that either.
No, this is the shocking one. How are you shocked by Galladay, but not this?
Allen Robinson getting tagged?
Yeah.
I don't know. He thinks Henry Ruggs is good. He's shocked by a lot of things.
Why wouldn't Robinson get tagged?
Well, because Chicago pretty much put out a newspaper ad saying "Get the fuck out of Chicago," Rob, during the season.
Fake news.
Yeah, they literally gave no indication that they wanted this guy back. They don't have a quarterback.
What?
They have Russell Wilson.
Oh, that's right. They traded for Russ Wilson. That's right. Yeah, it's going to take the 27th pick. What pick is it? Whatever.
I think it's the 18th or 19th or.
Probably Seattle would take the entire city of Chicago for Russell Wilson.
So this was the most heartbreaking one. I'll say that, because I did have visions of A-Rob literally anywhere with any other quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles, or is Mike Glennon still there? I don't even know who they're.
Jimmy Graham's got a quarterback.
Can I steal some information from you, Bob? What was A-Rob's consistency rating?
75%, just like it is every year. He's the most.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
One of the most consistent wide receivers, regardless of quarterback, because they throw to him 730 times a game, and he has a 2% catch rate.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't understand how it could have gotten much better. I mean, yeah, you could see an uptick in touchdowns maybe because they don't really throw as much to the wide receiver in the red zone. They go to their tight ends a lot more often. But I mean, honestly, like I don't know how much more upside you could see with Allen Robinson.
I'll show you how. Allow me to demonstrate.
He could have been a wide receiver. He could be in the running for like top 5 wide receiver as opposed to low end wide receiver 1, high end wide receiver.
Like Indianapolis.
Here, like in Indianapolis. Here, I'll be playing the part of Allen Robinson. Okay, I'm running across the middle.
Way too short.
Right? And then
your hands are way too small.
Look, hey, I'm taller than Allen Robinson.
Look, you look like the singer Spandau Ballet. You don't look anything like Allen Robinson.
Yeah, Jeff wants to see me demonstrate. First of all, for the people in the chat, I am 2 inches taller than Allen Robinson. Anyhow, I'm running across the middle on a slant pattern with much better hair, and a ball's going to come at me. All right, now here's how it goes. Here's how it goes when Mitch Trubisky is throwing me that ball. Right? Now, when any other quarterback is throwing me that ball, here's how it goes. And then I run it in for a touchdown. So that's how it could get better, because he might actually be able to catch more than like half the balls that are thrown in his general vicinity or space orbit or whatever.
But he's not going to get half the targets.
Right. Good point.
I mean, he should, because he's the GOAT. It should be he's like DeAndre Hopkins, right? Wherever he goes, the targets follow because he's a boss. But now he's a boss in Chicago. I don't know. I still think they might tag and trade him, because I don't think Chicago wants. I don't know. I mean, Allen Robinson seems to want absolutely nothing to do with them. So
Yeah, we'll
I don't
see
think
if he
he's going to be
signs it.
signing that tender. And I think maybe Chicago might just be looking at this and saying, hey, maybe we can get a second or third round pick out of this, instead of having this guy who doesn't want to play for us and ends up just walking for nothing. And now we have this guy Darnell Mooney as our wide receiver one.
Don't trash Darnell Mooney. Okay.
I like Darnell Mooney, but I mean, what are we? Is he the wide receiver one?
Maybe A-Rob can go to the Browns. We'll take him on the other side of Landry.
And then
He only
Beckham
had
goes
less
to the
than
Bears, or what?
7 targets.
Beckham can go to whatever pasture he came from.
All right. Indianapolis. I think
Indianapolis.
Please.
Indianapolis.
Please come to
It's
Indianapolis.
close. Please. And Beckham can go anywhere, in my opinion.
If I had Wentz and Beckham in Indianapolis, I would not be able to contain myself. I would be, oh man. Those are my guys.
Calm down.
They'd play 3 total games together because they're both made of glass.
But it would be the
That's
3 coolest games ever. I would be pants off the whole time, and not just because I'm like on this show with my own face, so I don't need to wear pants.
Huh?
That was,
You know the saying, pants off?
No,
Okay.
Nope.
How old are you, Shane?
I don't
I
want to
am
know.
in my late
30s.
Man, I don't know. You guys got to stay with the podcast lingo. Whatever. It'd be exciting, okay? I like
Wheels
Odell
up.
Beckham. I'm never giving up. Wheels up for Odell Beckham.
Okay.
Is it a
Get him out
smash?
of Cleveland. I don't care where he goes. Just get him out of Cleveland. He's waste.
Odell Beckham, SZN.
He is a
Indianapolis.
waste of space.
And Henry was not tagged, and someone honestly asked if it's Donald Parham season.
Because it
so
is
we'll
Donald
skip
Parham
that.
season. I didn't
We're gonna
ask. I
skip that.
stated. I yelled it from the mountaintops.
You know where Hunter Henry would look good?
Indianapolis?
Well, he would, because Carson Wentz loves his tight ends.
He
And
sure does.
Hunter Henry's very similar to Zach Ertz. At least he was physically coming out of college.
Yeah,
And they
I
wear
actually
86.
like that landing spot. But Jacksonville makes sense too.
Yeah.
So who's going to throw it on there? Oh, Trevor Lawrence. Okay.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, just Trevor Lawrence. Nobody important. Wait, but Shane, where were you going to say? Were you going to say Indianapolis?
Oh yeah, Wentz.
Okay.
That's the landing spot this year. I thought that was officially the spot this year. Like
That is the spot.
every
Let's
year,
put that
Everybody
matchup.
going to Indianapolis.
like
Yeah.
every year, like when there's a white wide receiver on the market, we go, oh, he's going to New England. So this year, when there's any wide receiver or tight end on the market, we just go, oh, he's going to Indianapolis.
I know.
And then, tight ends, and then, of course, running backs are Buffalo. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's only 2 teams that are signing people this offseason with any kind of value. So,
Here's the thing. I don't want to run him back in Buffalo because I don't want Josh Adams stealing touchdowns from him. And Josh Adams going to continue stealing touchdowns from people because he's a fucking bulldozer.
no, yeah, he loves that RPO in the red zone, and he keeps it almost every time, very similar to Kyler Murray.
Bob, do you have a
Yeah.
Donald Parham take? Because I know that Shane's a hater.
Who?
Donald Parham Jr., the man inheriting the tight end 1 chair. for
I
LA
almost just
Chargers.
spit out my drink. Yeah, no.
The guy
Donald
holding the
Parham.
spot until they draft Kyle Pitts.
I mean, I'd like Kyle
And
Pitts.
what
That's
team?
what I was saying.
What team are we talking about? Buffalo?
Chargers. We're talking about Hunter Henry.
Oh, if Hunter Henry goes. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't even know who the back goes because I don't care.
He doesn't.
He was great in the
There's no
XFL.
consistency to track for that.
He's
Um,
an XFL
Do you
star,
have
Bob.
consistency ratings in the
XFL
XFL?
star. Well, Jesus, well, let's sign him up.
Was he in the AAF as well? Did I draft him in the AAF draft that I had?
Is he
No,
playing
an
in
AAF
right now?
draft?
What?
Wow, Shane, you're a real one.
You didn't do an AAA draft?
I did XFL DFS.
Oh, I did an AAF draft. Then the league folded after 4 weeks. I didn't learn my lesson. Then I did an XFL draft. Folded after 4 weeks?
You need to
No,
find a
that
hobby,
made it through the
Shane.
season. Didn't
Shane
it?
needs to find a hobby.
No,
No.
COVID happened. That's right.
It has value no matter what, because if you did any of those leagues that aren't the NFL, you know who Donald Parham is, and now you have a tight end 1 sitting on your bench.
Oh, and Dontrell Hillard too.
Yeah, I don't know about Don
Yeah, that's
Dillard.
Well, you guys are in dynasty stuff, so I guess it all makes sense.
That's true.
None of these players are worth knowing because Donald
Bob.
Parham is just holding that seat for either Pat Fryermuth, Kyle Pitts, or Brevin Jordan.
But he's going to hold
Jordan's
it at
one of
6'9".
That doesn't make him good. It makes him tall.
I support the tall.
My favorite play of the entire season, actually my least favorite play of the entire season, because I actually had him in DFS, was when Donald Parham went for a jump ball to win the game.
Yeah.
And the guy that was 5'10 or like 5'11 ended up breaking up the jump ball and ripping it out of his hands when he was come down with it. And I was so pissed. But yeah.
He sucks.
So let's go ahead and hop on to some of these free agents and their potential landing spots. We got about 15 minutes or so we can spend as much time as we want on them, or not at all time.
Jacob, real quick. That is not how you spell Smith-Schuster.
I don't know.
Nobody else can see the show sheet.
Wait, isn't that how do you spell it?
Well, not with an E right there.
There's no E?
No, E goes after.
Oh, I think that's his brother. He's German.
He looks a lot more like Jacob.
Yeah, he looks more like Jacob.
You're right.
Hands. Yeah.
You're totally right. You can see that I basically have never drafted Juju Smith-Schuster in my life because I don't even know how to spell his name.
You.
But he knew
there's no E at all.
I'm just kidding.
No, we're not going to rank these wide receivers we'd rather have.
Do you want to rank them? Do we want to spend time
better.
ranking Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay?
T. Higgins.
Above them all?
Above them all.
Yeah. Well, so what I was going to do here is I'm going to play a game. We got wide receivers in the news, okay? Chris Godwin, obviously. Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay, we just talked about. I threw Amari Cooper in here because with Dak signing the extension, and he's kind of in a similar range. So
we had an argument in the group chat today. This is why.
Yeah. What I did was I contrived a game to try and make Chase look bad.
Yeah. That's
so real quick, how would you rank those four? Godwin, Cooper, Robinson, Galladay.
Bob, we can.
This is Dynasty, though.
In Dynasty.
Yeah. Dynasty. Yeah.
Bob, do you
can do it for
redraft?
You know what? If you want to do redraft, you can do redraft because I bet there's a lot of people in the audience that want the redraft take.
All right, I'll do redraft. So I would go with the tough part is not knowing where Galladay. Let's say Galladay goes to a good team, so I'll put Galladay.
Indianapolis.
Let's say Indianapolis. So Galladay, Godwin, Robinson, and Cooper. Because Cooper's a fantasy locust, and he will always eat your team alive.
I'm shocked that Mr. Consistency
terrible.
rating doesn't like Amari Cooper.
This is one of our major topics today.
This is one of my favorite topics. Amari Cooper just had his best consistency season ever this past year when he hit 75%. Before that, his best ever was 63.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that high.
What were you going to say, 50?
No, 33.
Yeah, but before that he said before the 63, that was his highest, was 63. And the only reason he got to 75 this year is because, they had Dalton for half the time and they were just throwing short passes to him all. I mean,
Dalton didn't know how to look left to Michael Gallup.
Yeah, exactly. Michael Gallup didn't get anything. So Cooper became basically Allen Robinson in Dallas is what happened. And that's why Cooper got to be very consistent in the second half of the year. I think if everything's back to normal and Prescott and everybody's healthy, I think you'll see Cooper still be in total points in the top 15, but his consistency will go back into that 60, 65 range. That's why we tag him the fantasy locust.
He is terrible. What's your range? Are you allowed to say your range? Like, can you give us what the consistency range is?
Oh, so to earn a clutch game, clutch game, consistent game, to get to that 75%, a wide receiver PPR is about 11 points a game.
Okay.
So that means that 75% of the time he was over 11 points.
Which is probably wide receiver 3 threshold on a weekly basis if you map it out.
Well, it's kind of a wide receiver 3 threshold. I mean, he was 15th in total points, which is actually where he's normally at, between 12 and 15 in total points. Every year he gets put in the top 12 for some ungodly reason.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. That's why I had to laugh when Mr. Spandau Ballet there was all about, he's one of how you put him that low. And I'm like, what? No, he's one of the most inconsistent top receivers well-known top receivers out there. It just doesn't pull through year after year normally.
Bob has hated Amari Cooper the entire existence of our friendship.
Yes. Thank you.
I think the very first time we had Bob on the Dynasty Trades HQ podcast, he just came on and yelled at me about Amari Cooper being on. I think that was the whole show.
All right, yelling is extreme.
But I know firsthand, because this happened in a group chat today, that an Amari Cooper argument can last hours and derail conversations and productivity. So real quick, okay, you had it. How did you say you had it? Did you say Robinson, Godwin, Godwin, Cooper? Okay.
Galladay, Godwin, Robinson, Cooper.
Okay, and then Shane. Let's get the dynasty take out of you. How would you rank those four? Godwin, Cooper, Robinson, and Galladay. I don't need to say because I typed them in the order I ranked them.
Yeah, I'm close. I'd have Godwin, No, you know what? Robinson. I'd have Robinson, Godwin, Cooper, then Galladay, and T. Higgins over all of them.
Oh yeah, well for sure T. Higgins, but we'll get to him.
Okay.
Chase, I know Cooper's last. Oh, I know
Godwin's
that
first. Kenny Galladay's second. Allen Robinson's third. Although it's really close for Galladay and Robinson. It really depends on landing spot. And then Amari Cooper can just go in the garbage.
Okay, I don't think he can go in the garbage.
No, here's okay. I'm going to give a defense of Amari Cooper. I'm going to give a defense of Amari Cooper.
By the way, Jacob's a lawyer. He's studying to be one.
Yeah, I'm certainly not one yet.
Studying to be one. That's different.
Look, well, you know what? Amari Cooper is studying to be a wide receiver one.
Thank you.
And last year, he started first 4 games, right? 10 for 81, 6 for 100, 9 for 86, 12 for 134. Had 14 targets, 9, 12, 16. I imagine all 4 of those would have been right in there in the consistency rating. Previous year, he was number 10 in points per game overall in PPR, or sorry, not points per game, in PPR points total, 7 in standard. Now, obviously, you get some hills and valleys with Cooper. But I think it comes down to roster construction and what you value. If you want a guy who's going to give you, 12, 13, 14 points as a floor every week, Amari Cooper isn't your guy. Personally, the way I view it is if I'm in a 12-team league, I need to hit the tails of my range of outcomes, right? Like I'm not trying to cash this where I'm just trying to be one of the best 6 teams out of 12. I want to be the best team out of 12. And so to do that, I need to hit a higher threshold than just being startable. And with Amari Cooper, I know I have a guy in my lineup because he's in that offense, because he has that skill set, who has a chance at any given week to go for 30 plus. And you see that reflected in where he finishes in the rest of the season. He gets there differently. But for me in my roster construction, I would rather a guy like Cooper who gets to it with boom weeks, who will single-handedly win you weeks, than with a guy, like a Tyler Boyd or a guy like an Allen Robinson who sort of hovers in that, okay, I get you 15 points every week. And if they end up the same, personally, I want the guy who, when I go into championship week and I know I'm facing the guy with the stacked team and I need to put up 20 in all my positions, I want the guy who can go for 40 points because that's what's going to separate me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, he only gave you with Dak Prescott 1 week where he finished as a wide receiver 1. Every other week was like 23rd or worse or something like that. So,
well, he only had 4 weeks. So he didn't catch a touchdown the other 3. He was still over 15 points every single week, even without a touchdown.
For what it's worth, Allen Robinson had multiple games over 20 points last year. So I will still take Allen Robinson. And let me make this clear. I don't want to make it sound like Chase where I'm like, I'll throw Amari Cooper in the trash. I'll still take Amari Cooper. I would prefer that he's my wide receiver 3 as opposed to my 1 or 2. But it's not like these guys, honestly, it's not like these guys, there's giant tier between them. Any of these 4 for me.
Yeah.
They're all within a tier or 2 of each other for me.
Well, let's move on quick to these other folks. So I have some other guys. We'll start with T. Higgins because Shane mentioned him.
T. Higgins.
Is there any of these 4 guys you would take over T. Higgins or all of them? Shane's taking none over T. Higgins. I would take none of them over T. Higgins in Dynasty.
Right.
Bob, I know I'll put you on the spot here with a Dynasty take. And Chase, where would you put T. Higgins among these 4 in Dynasty?
I mean, I do play in a couple Dynasty leagues, and I always play it differently. I always play to win every year. So I would probably take all 4 of them over T. Higgins because I want to win this year and I'll get somebody other than T. Higgins. And T. Higgins to me is still behind Tyler Boyd. I mean, yeah, in a redraft, he's going to be. I think Tyler Boyd's still a better player, still going to be more consistent because of Burrow. He just quit. And so T. Higgins was only 50% consistent last year. Tyler Boyd was, higher than that. Certainly had a much better year. I mean, that's with Burrow going down. So that's the problem is, you have Burrow's got to stay healthy. The offense got to be healthy. I mean, if everybody stays healthy in that team, you might see a different scenario. But right now, I'm not saying I don't like T. Higgins. I love him as a player. I drafted him in every league last year because I drafted A.J. Green, and then I drafted T. Higgins right after it.
That's smart.
And it worked out very well.
Yeah, I bet.
No, that's a good little period. And I love stacking receivers in certain, concepts and whatnot to make sure you get one of the passing options in that game. So like that, I would probably still take Chris Godwin for sure. That's a lock.
Okay.
And then Allen Robinson, Kenny Galladay, probably take them over in Dynasty, but it would be very close. Depends on how I'm trying to construct my roster. So I draft as as I'm trying to build a roster towards, hey, I need to win now, just like how Bob brought up, or hey, I need to build towards the future. So it kind of just depends on where people fall. For example, I got stuck with Alvin Kamara with I think the 5th pick or something along those lines, or I think it was like the 7th pick. I was like, I can't pass up Alvin Kamara, but he's not really a dynasty asset as much at this point, although he still is an asset, don't get me wrong, but that made me want to win now. So if I took somebody like an Alvin Kamara, I would take probably all 4 of these receivers over Higgins.
Right, that makes sense too in Dynasty, yeah.
See,
but if I'm sitting there and let's just say it's super flex for the hell of it, and I end up with a young quarterback and with my first pick, like a Trevor Lawrence or somebody, Justin Herbert maybe, I might try and build towards later. So yeah, I would probably take Higgins at that point and try and lose for a couple seasons to accrue draft value and try and build up my running back core.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on how I'm drafting and how I'm trying to approach it. I think this is it's very dependent on which route you're trying to go.
Yeah, and I'll try to not take too long. I would take Higgins above all those folks regardless, right? And I play Dynasty differently than you two, where my focus is always how can I build the highest possible value team. And so when I'm looking at player stat, I don't give a shit if I'm contending. I don't give a shit if I'm rebuilding. I just stick to my board no matter what. So to me, like I have Higgins ranked higher, I'll take Higgins. And to me, it's a matter of how can I build the highest value team and prolong my window. Because if I have a long window, I'll win at some point. And I just always get scared of pushing in and going all in and then losing. And that's a fear for me. But I know a lot of folks play obviously differently. And I wouldn't put Higgins above any of those 4 in redraft. Although personally, I'll probably take him above Boyd. We only got a few minutes left, so let's rapid fire this. Terry McLaurin, would you take McLaurin over any of these 4 in a dynasty format? Or you can say in a redraft format. I think it works either way.
I love Terry McLaurin. This guy has been consistent in his first 2 seasons without any resemblance of a quarterback. I mean, we think Trubisky's bad. Ooh.
Yeah.
So, the fact that this guy can continue to produce on a consistent basis in fantasy, I love this kid a lot. I definitely would have him. I definitely would take him over Cooper, maybe Robinson, maybe all 4. I mean, I think the kid's a stud.
Okay.
I just moved McLaurin over Galladay today. I had Galladay behind because I thought Galladay was going to get tagged, and I thought that him being the primary option of the offense would still hold McLaurin back a little bit because I don't know the quarterback situation with McLaurin. But as of right now, I think I would only take Chris Godwin over McLaurin at this point.
Shane, McLaurin or those 4 in Dynasty?
I'll put him 1.5. It's going to depend on my mood if it's him or Godwin.
Or Godwin. Yeah, I currently have Godwin the highest, but with him getting tagged, it's probably dead even. I think I have McLaurin and him back to back. I saw a report, but it's close.
I saw reports come out today that the Washington football team has been in every single talk so far when it comes to available quarterbacks being traded.
That's what I want to hear.
So, like Teddy Bridgewater, they've supposedly had conversations behind the scenes about it. They had conversations about Matt Stafford when he was getting traded. They've had conversations about every available person. So if they don't find a quarterback and if they draft a rookie, This is like my worst possible nightmare for the Washington football team is that they draft a rookie quarterback like Mac Jones. They don't have an offensive line to protect him, and it's going to be embarrassing. So we've seen, 3 or 4 first-round quarterbacks now just completely fail out for Washington over the past few years because they refused to build up this offensive line. And they started to under McLuhan, but then it just fell apart because McLuhan, whatever. Anyways, there is literally no reason they should draft a quarterback. So if they draft a quarterback, I'm not going to be in on Terry McLaurin this season. But if they go out and sign a player like maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick, let's go.
I got one more because I want to get in a fight with Chase about it, and I want it on air so that I have receipts when I'm right. Probably not a redraft take, Bob, because I know, of course, in redraft you would definitely take these 4 above this player, Brandon Ayuk. Where would you put Brandon Ayuk in Dynasty next to these 4, who was probably, I would imagine, at least in the games that he played, one of the more consistent rookie wide receivers?
She was. Yeah, I'll just throw it out there for you before you argue. 67% consistent. Granted, Deebo Samuel missed a lot of time, and there was a lot of hot mess going on in San Francisco. But still, 67% consistent is very impressive for somebody at that point in his career.
Sure is impressive. I know Chase's answer. He has him very low. Shane, where would you put Ayuk? Would you put him above any of these 4? I have him above. I have him above Golladay, and I have him not. I have him pretty much even, same tier with Cooper and Robinson. What say you? In Dynasty, not in redraft, of course.
I put him above Cooper. I can put him above Cooper, but that's also because I saw that sexy consistency last year and that upside last year with a terrible quarterback. So I can only imagine. So, of course, I'm giving him the benefit because he didn't have a good quarterback, but I'm ignoring that he didn't have George Kittle or Deebo Samuel to contend with or a real running attack. Right. But whatever, he looked special on the field. He looked like what they wanted Deebo to be. Except that he can also run deep threats or deep routes. Just unfortunately, his quarterback can't throw those. So I like Ayuk a lot.
Chase, do you mind sharing where you have Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, wide receiver 36, 35, 36. I have a big time issue with rookies who play less than 12 games in a season or 12 or less games in a season. I have a major issue with it because they tend to not stay healthy in the NFL. I just had to pull it up real quick. We have players like Odell Beckham Jr., Brandon Cooks, which, by the way, Brandon Cooks has been good. Odell Beckham Jr. has been good. But in terms of dynasty rankings, that's not the type of players you want on your team because they lose value significantly, very similar to how you draft. Allen Robinson was on there, so was Kenny Golladay. So that's good. But then we have players like Corey Coleman, Jalen Reagor, Corey Davis, Dede Westbrook, Equanimeous St. Brown. I mean, it's literally just a list of all epic failures of players who cannot stay healthy in their rookie season. And typically it's, it's what they end up.
Wait, Jalen, how long is Jalen Reagor's career?
Oh, sorry. Jalen Reagor's just on the list and I hate Jalen Reagor, so I wanted to mention it. Corey
Davis.
I mean, here's the thing, though, right?
Has 2 wide receiver 2 seasons in his
Look at that.
profile. No?
That's great. I have him ranked as wide receiver 36, so it's still as a wide receiver 3. But in 2 seasons out of the 5 that he's played now, I think that's very accurate as to where you would take Corey Davis now as wide receiver 36. So
yeah, perhaps
sitting there and looking at it as I go through this list of epic failures, throughout a dynasty career, I don't want that player on my team on a regular basis. I am all about consistency. I am all about being healthy and staying on the field and making sure that you actually produce on a regular basis, not 12 games in a season or 10 games in a season. So
when was Brandon Ayuk hurt in college?
He might have missed 1 game, but he was healthy throughout all of college. But once again,
Deebo Samuel
I didn't like him coming out of college. I didn't like him coming out of college.
And you were wrong. That's okay.
So anyways, back to my point. I didn't like him coming out of college. And for a player that I don't like coming out of college who also cannot stay healthy in his rookie season, I don't want that player yet as a wide receiver 2 or better. That makes no sense to me why you would draft him as wide receiver 2. That's a wide receiver 3 through and through. And it's shown by literally, I can send you a list of the 100 players drafted since.
Right. But your 100 player list is flawed. Look, I mean,
it's a flawed. It's facts.
No, your 100-player list is flawed because you bring up a sample. You bring up one end of the sample that's Odell Beckham and Brandon Cooks and Kenny Golladay, right? And those were guys who, when they got on the field, they balled out because
yes, but I want.
And
them
then
on
shockingly, they turned out to be really, really good. Right, there was a time where Odell Beckham was considered the number 1 wide receiver in Dynasty, period. Not a wide receiver one, the wide receiver one.
He was considered the number 1 asset
exactly.
in Dynasty football.
Right? So, I mean, those guys produced. The other guys, what? Corey Davis, Corey Coleman? I'm pretty sure Corey Spalla produced more points in his first year than Corey Coleman, and he's a writer for Join Our Circle. He never even played in the NFL. So, Brandon Ayuk, you want to talk about consistency rating, right? I know, Chase, you're not the only one that gets to suck up to the guest tonight. Brandon Ayuk comes in week 7. Oh, look at this. 6 for 115, 17 PPR points, 891 and a touchdown, 7 for 75 and a touchdown, 5 for 95 and a touchdown, 10 for 119, 9 for 73 and a touchdown. He missed 2 games in there. One of them is because of COVID, right? He was a close contact on a COVID list. So, that's not really an injury issue. That was the game he missed against Green Bay.
But Chase's report will tell you that that's an injury. Because he missed
I did miss that. That was
only one game. Right. Like,
once again, I am so busy putting this website together. I don't have a lot of time to do research from 2020. I'm looking at 2020.
No. I mean, I'm not trying to discredit your research because he did get injured a couple times, right? Like that's a reality, and I'm not trying to say that's not a reality. I tend not to overrate or tend not to rate super highly, whether a player will be injured in the future because they were injured in the past. But the reality is, he was 22. He produced like a wide receiver 1, and I understand that Debo wasn't there. I understand that Kittle wasn't there. But who was Rager competing with? Who was Pittman competing with?
I hate Rager.
Who was Ruggs competing with? Who was what's his face? Mims competing with? All these guys. There was a lot of rookie wide receivers.
Well, Mims couldn't stay on the field either, which has actually scared me off.
Which is fair. I'm just saying that people say, oh well, Ayuk only did it because there was a bunch of dudes around him that weren't very good. There was a lot of rookie wide receivers who had that opportunity, right? Like Ruggs had that opportunity, Mims, Edwards, Rager, Pittman, and they didn't do anything with it. It's not Ayuk's fault that everyone around him got hurt. When they did, he went and balled out. So to me, he should be a top 20 wide receiver in Dynasty going forward because what he did isn't normal. You don't get 22-year-olds that do that. And will he get hurt again in the future? It's possible. But I think it's also possible that he becomes, a perennial wide receiver 1. So to take guys that you have to take over him to have him at wide receiver 36. And I'm not talking about Godwin, Cooper, Robinson, Golladay. If you want to have those guys ahead of him, fine. Because I think all those guys have wide receiver 1 ceilings. My issue is when you get into, a Tyler Boyd, a Robert Woods, a Cooper Kupp. It's
calm down on the Robert Woods slander. Okay.
In Dynasty, though, he's still going to be 29. What's the upside?
All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up because we all have shows. I had a show that was supposed to be on 8 minutes ago now. And I know that Bob has a show as well. So we'll go ahead and start out with the guest. Bob, where can we find you?
Big Guy Fantasy Sports, of course, at Bob_Lung on Twitter. And, of course, the Fantasy Football Expo at the Fantasy Football Expo and thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Make sure you get your booth, so go quick. Tickets, everything's there for you. Look forward to see you guys there. And thanks again for having me on, man.
No, we appreciate you for coming on, and we're very excited for this expo. I know a lot of people are.
Yeah, thanks.
Shane, you ready? What you got?
Yeah, I got nothing. Go click on Bob's Twitter. Go pre-order a consistency guide, and then while you're doing that, then open up another window and buy tickets to the expo and come and have a good time.
Yeah. Thanks.
Jacob?
Absolutely. First off, just thanks a ton to Bob for coming on. Thanks to Chase for putting up with me, trying to fight with him for an hour. Thanks to Shane for being his sunny self every single day. And you can find me on Twitter, FF_RTDB. New article out on playerprofiler.com as well. And just come chat with me. If you want to draft Brandon Ayuk, you can send me a screenshot. I will give you a follow guaranteed, and I'll give you a shout out because then you're a friend of the
follows.
No, I'm trying to buy support
he said
for
he
Brandon
would
Ayuk.
follow them.
Yeah, I'll follow you if you because then I know you're smart people.
You're right. No, you're trying. I'm sorry. I meant to say you're buying Brandon.
I'm selling follows. I am selling follows. I'm selling my soul for Brandon Ayuk.
I love it. Hey, Bob, thanks once again. I'm sure we've already reiterated that 100 times.
See you all in Canton.
Pleasure. You guys can find us at FF_intervention and join our circle _. We're building over there. We have a total of I don't even know how many. I think it's 9 or 11 videos coming out this week, including our live shows. So it's been fun. But hey, that's what we do over there at Fantasy Intervention. YouTube.com/Fantasy Intervention. Thank you guys for listening once again, and thank you all for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life. We're out.